Hey there, and welcome back to another My Hero Academia Season 7 video. And today we're going to be talking about the latest episode to drop, Hopes, which follows off from what was my favourite episode of the season last week with Gentle coming in clutch, and then Lady Nagant appearing out of nowhere to snipe Shigaraki a couple of times. And so yeah, I would like to say before we start, we're flying blind here. I haven't read this part of the manga, so I'm unspoiled. And so with all that being said, let's jump into the episode. We start off the episode following Lady Nagant in the moments before she attacks Shigaraki. She's in the hospital, she's forced her way out of her room to try to help in the final battle, despite the fact that she could reopen her wounds and lead to her death. Rocklock finds her, takes her up to the roof, and gives her a phone for her to check the status of the battle, which in turn lets her line up her shots to come in clutch and shoot off Shigaraki's hands before he can use decay, and also shoot him in the head, although that seems to do far less damage. So is part of her quirk having auto-aim? Am I remembering that right? Because she can't actually see them, can she? Also, once again, Deku just being an absolute chad with his compassion and his fighting spirit, inspiring villains who can still be saved and reformed to be better. And I love that about his character. I love that they're giving him this sort of all-might aura. But instead of just inspiring normal people, he's able to pull people back from the brink and push them towards a better path. Such a good character arc. Also, it seems that All For One is in more control of Shigaraki's body for this part, as when he gets sniped, he starts raging and calling out Lady Nagant's name, but only he would know her, right? Because Shigaraki never met her, I think. And honestly, All For One only has himself to blame for this. He gave her a self-destruct quirk, but it didn't even work properly. She, only a few days after getting blown up, could hop out of bed and use her quirk. Yeah, it reopened her scars, but still, not the greatest contingency plan from the big man. And this gives Deku enough time to catch his breath from the backlash of Gear Shift, and allows him to tackle Shigaraki and take him out of the coffin, rightly noting that if Shigaraki can use his quirks now, everybody on the vessel is going to die before Deku can stop him from using them. Whereas if he's alone on the ground elsewhere, Deku can fight all out without worrying about his allies getting killed. We then head into the intro, and when we come back, All For One's raging pretty hardcore about Nagant turning against him and daring to strike back at him, while Shigaraki laughs at him about his failure to predict that this would happen, whilst also pretty much, at least from my perspective, severing ties and revealing he's not going to let him control his body at all. And here's the big kicker, he doesn't even want one for all. He just wants to destroy everything that relates to his trauma. So heroes, hero society, one for all, and all for one. That's probably the extent of it. And I think we also have a hint here that there's going to be no change of heart in the cards for Shigaraki. He says that in his heart, he won't change. He outwardly says it, and then it cuts to so Gentle and Lady Nagant when he says that. So, unlike them, I think this is the hint that he won't be swayed by Deku and his compassionate heart. He's not going to suddenly take back everything he's done. So I wouldn't be shocked if this then turns into a three-way battle at the end of things. Deku fighting for the world, All For One fighting for himself, and then Shigaraki fighting for a new world born of anarchy and true freedom. Or just oblivion, I guess. And at the same time, All For One is calling out for Kurogiri to warp him to his prime All For One body, as he can't use this new body yet. They need the full fusion, I guess. But Kurogiri is also having a meltdown of his own, as it seems his memories of being Shirakumo are coming to the forefront and bleeding back in since his interaction with his old friends in the hospital. I'm honestly really curious as to where they go with him. Is his OG mind going to come back fully? Is he just going to have glimpses? Is he going to die? Be put back in a facility forever? There's so much heavy shit happening all at once. You love to see it. This season is truly going nuts. And then we finally hit the title screen and come back to see Gentle holding up the coffin, and he's struggling after all. Pretty sure he does not have super strength. Yes, the love quirk helps, but can't feel great getting squished by that thing. And here we see some real growth. Previously, it seems like what he truly wanted was to be acknowledged and recognized, to be praised, to the point of trying to bust into UA to get some content for his YouTube channel. But here, he thinks nobody can see him, nobody will acknowledge him, and yet despite it all, he's okay with it. He's happy because he's doing the right thing, and that gives him joy. It ain't enough for Labrava though, because after Gentle notices the guys from the UA business course who stowed away and were filming things for historical records, and in turn gets reprimanded by them for telling them to go inside, Labrava hacks their phones and starts streaming their footage to show the world that Gentle's helping. And I find it very wholesome overall. I find their whole story so sweet. Please don't let anything bad happen to Gentle. I mean, I doubt it would, but still, I don't think I could cope with that. We then cut over to Aizawa and Present Mike, who have been swarmed by the Twice Doubles and launched off the structure, and they're going to theoretically fall to their death into the water, until they're saved by Kurogiri. So it looks like we may be getting a return of their friend. Maybe. I have a feeling that this is him briefly breaking free of his programming, but it's not going to last, and he's going to return to Shigaraki's side. And the more I think about it, the more I think, surely there's no true happy ending for this guy. I mean, he was straight up dead. If they break the programming, he's still a corpse, isn't he? I don't know, I guess we'll see. And then it's over to All For One, who's still a little bit annoyed that his body takeover of Shigaraki is not fully going according to plan. He already knew that it was going to be difficult, as in the final stage, he would have to merge himself with Shigaraki, and their personalities would fuse completely. But now it feels like they're just straight up incompatible. And so, I guess he has to go over there to fully force the integration the hard way. But hot on his heels is Hawks, whom he seemingly kills, only to reveal that it was an illusion. And this was very funny, and necessary, I think. You need some humor to break up these battles, these heavy moments, otherwise it gets a bit too much. And then Shiketsu High makes its grand entrance, and we get to see some of the other top-level students from more than just UA do some fighting. We have the Weird Fingers guy, the Yeti dude, the Illusion Girl, Cyclone Man, and holy shit, Cyclone Man is strong. I mean, look at him, just ragdolling all of those twice doubles. And so the heroes are reinforced by the students, and the battle resumes with better odds, largely focusing on All For One. But All For One's just ridiculously OP. Seriously, if that doctor had managed to figure out how to make the serum just not reverse him to the point of killing him, it would have been game over, I think. Over time, I suspect he's going to keep getting weaker and weaker, even if he chips away at a bunch of heroes. But if he just got to stay in his prime the entire battle, yeah, GG. He then powers up and threatens to go full Demon King on all of them, and honestly, I was expecting a bit more, but I guess that will come in time. He did have a cool monologue to build things up a little bit, but then he just doesn't really do much. I mean, he almost takes off Wind Dude's head, but since Cyclone Man is a massive Chad, he just keeps fighting. Hawks powers up again, he has that steely look in his eyes, but it's a feint because he can't really do anything. Nobody can, as they can't get close to All For One because he can just quirk steal them. And I gotta say, this fake out where All For One's talking shit, then it shows behind him the big dark face, hell yes. This shot goes hard. Although at first I did think it was just Kurogiri about to summon him away, but then All For One shits himself and realizes no, it's Tokoyami. Hell yeah, loved it. I saw him flying near Pixie Bob earlier on, but I didn't really think much of it. So this reveal was truly awesome. And it's once again nice to see one of the lesser heroes from the class get some shine. Although I wouldn't say he's lesser. He's on like the second tier in terms of prominence and importance. But still, for someone of that level to go up against All For One and make him afraid, yes. Just yes. Anyway, instead of just flatlining him straight away, Tokoyami decides to monologue and tell him how he did this, because of the clouds and since Darby's flames are being reduced by the tornadoes, and this monologue does give All For One time to throw up a shield, although I guess Tokoyami knows there's not shit you can do against, what's his move? Light of Boulder? He gives the best names for his moves. And he gets some extra juice on his punch from the wind guy, and this was just cool. Yes. And All For One gets pummeled, and he'll probably brush it off next episode and everyone will be like, what? But this was still awesome to see. And then the main chunk of the episode ends, and I was thinking, yikes, bit early, isn't it? Only for us to, after the credits, get some post-credit scenes to set up more of the Toga plot. In that, she hasn't just made doubles of twice, but also the rest of the league, such as Darby, Shigaraki, and even All For One. But since she doesn't like them in the way that she did twice, they're currently just quirkless blobs. Although that being said, there's speculation that since she's on the verge of a mental break, another one, I know, there is a good chance that this could change, and thus, if she accesses those quirks, GG. As yes, you do have weaker doubles of All For One, Darby and Shiggy, but they can all use their quirks fully to obliterate the heroes. Decay on its own is busted, but with Darby's blue flames and then just All For One flying around doing his thing, nah. So obviously that's not going to happen because otherwise the heroes would just straight up lose, but it is still kind of exciting and it ups the stakes, really ramping up the drama, and every episode feels like so much happens it leaves me wanting more. Especially with the previews. Yes, Gigantomachia joining the fight, hell yeah! Dude was pretty much impossible to defeat last time, and that was with way more heroes and lots of them died, so curious to see how they go here. And so yeah, beyond that, not much else to say, and so I'll just remind you that these have all been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of the episode? You like it? Hate it? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.